Welcome to Season 3 of In the Vine podcast with your host, Melissa Chavez, joined by Yesenia, Denise, and Shekinah. This season, we'll be discussing the joy of the Lord and, of course, our monthly and other upcoming events. To find out more, please visit www.inthevine.org. And if you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to show your support and like, share, and subscribe.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to Season 3 of In the Vine. It is your host, Melissa Chavez, and we cannot believe that we're already back in this beautiful studio. Can you guys believe it? It looks amazing. Thank you, Yessie, your brainchild.
Yes, thank you, Yessie.
Yes, thank you.
Gorgeous.
Thank you for going blind and looking at the lights and fixing the lights for us.
We're not even sure if we're looking at the camera right now. But so by now you guys have seen all the changes. With the date of this release, I'm sure we already had our event, the Billards, which I'm sure is going to go and went really good, which is crazy, right? Because at the beginning, the signups, we've been having a lot of trouble that it's usually women that sign up rather quickly.
Yeah.
And now this time around, it was mostly men that signed up at the beginning. So hello, ladies. Come catch your man. So we can't wait to recap that event. I'm sure it's going to be good. With that being said, by now the new logo released, and you guys have seen all the amazing things that In the Vine is getting into. We dropped the word dating. Every time I say that for my hip hop heads, it reminds me of Blue. You know the rapper? He has a song where in it he's like, it's blue, and if they drop the E, drop them, or something like that. I don't remember. It's been a long time. But anyway, I will not fumble that bag.
Which is a thing. We're so sorry.
I wanted to make sure I got that on air. But anyway, here with me in the studio, I have
Yessie,
Shekinah,
Denise.
and yeah, so we're doing a whole bunch of awesome things, and we hope that you guys are able to relate to those. But the reason why we dropped the word dating, not because we're stepping away from the dating aspect, but because we want to, in our podcast and even in our hangouts and all that stuff, it's really opened up to marriage advice. It's opened up to relationship advice in all types of ways. It's opened up to life advice in general. So we didn't want to limit what the Lord was doing, and so we just, we dropped it up. Mm-hmm. We dropped it up. It's been a minute.
It's a new thing.
Yeah. So what do you ladies expect out of this season? I know it's not in the script, but write that down.
She always does this.
I do. I don't know why they get surprised.
It makes the best dialogue.
Yeah.
that's why Shekinah's going first.
What do you expect out of this season, Shekinah?
Honestly, just more engagement. We've already seen it with some of the changes that we made, and so just pressing into those changes and seeing the direction that we've been going, and even just dropping that word dating, it's just we've been able to add so much more to it. I remember because Yessie over here designed the logo, and so I was just asking like, oh my gosh, can you add this word? Can you add this word? Can you, all of these things. And so you're right. It just opens up the ability to do so much more, because In the Vine doesn't have to and we're keeping it focused on singles ministry, but it's not limiting us to singles ministry, and so we can expand and we can grow and we can, pun intended, branch out.
Yeah, I love that.
But yes, I'm excited for what In the Vine is doing in this season, and just God is so good, because this all started from just going, let's do a dating mixer. Yeah. That's how it started. And then
I was just out here trying to find a man. And now I'm here trying to find y'all men.
Joke's on you.
Joke's on me.
Season 3.
Here I am,
cool,
Lord, send
like
me.
how we grew, like how In the Vine grew. It's just like, again, pun intended.
Yeah.
How In the Vine has grown. Like, it's just been amazing to see in such a short time. We're on season 3, which is incredible. But really, we started, September?
October, November.
October, yeah. So I mean,
the actual launch was November.
Yeah.
But we started talking in September. Yeah.
Exactly. So it's been incredible to see just from that short amount of time how we've grown, and we're in season 3.
Yeah.
That's a big deal.
It is a big deal.
I remember we were talking about how are we going to start advertising for that mixer, and then Shakay's like, let's do podcasts, and then right away, like 20 messages later, we're already committed to a podcast, right?
Oh, all huddled around one little tiny
Yeah.
microphone.
It was so cute. I go back and I listen to some of the interviews and I'm cringing at the quality and all that. But I mean, at the time we thought we were popping. What do you think, Denise?
We still are.
Not Ramsey's days though.
Yeah, not Ramsey's days. It was the Who's in the Vine. Those need. I can't wait to go back and remaster it. Like, now I understand why Disney does like those re-releases, because, you know, new technology, new stuff. So, you know, one day we're gonna have that golden anniversary.
One day.
One day.
Yeah.
It's gonna be exciting.
You guys want to rock paper scissors it or what?
I'll just go. The logo, what I really like about it is when I sent it to Melissa, I was working more on like the eye or like putting like a branch or something on the back, and Melissa's like, how about that eye, like just something underneath it? And so like she was talking about roots, and I'm like, but it's in the vine. But then we know that the phrase is to find someone deeply rooted in Christ, right? So that root, that in depth,
Yes.
I thought that was beautiful. So I think that logo means a lot more now.
Yeah,
when
for
you look
sure.
at it.
And I love your brain for these things.
Yeah.
You're just so talented. I wish I knew, like, I don't know what goes on in your brain.
I don't know either.
But I love it. It's such a gift.
Thank you.
Denise.
What's the question?
The question is, what do you expect out of season 3?
The podcast or just season 3?
Season 3?
Season 3 of Denise's life.
No, I mean like season 3 of all that we're doing, right? Because it encompasses everything. The dating stuff, not mixers, but just the connections.
Yeah.
I'm expecting a lot of connections. I really am.
Yeah.
You laugh at me. I'm just excited for the joy of the Lord this season, for the fun. I'm excited for just, it's going to be great. It's going to be great, and I can sense it. I see it. I feel it. I'm excited to wear the merch with the new logo.
Hallelujah.
So I'm just excited.
Good.
It has to be Denise approved. So once we get the hat,
it does.
if you guys see our logo change, it's because it didn't fit in a hat.
Yeah, she wouldn't wear the merch.
I get it. I said, y'all, if I'm going to be repping something, it has to be just fresh. It has to be nice. And
Yesterday, Kat and I, we were looking at hats, and she's like, do you run your hats by Denise now? And I'm like, no. But then I'm like, but I do think, would
Pulls out her
Denise
phone
wear
and
this?
texts really quick.
But I'm like, but I do have that thought. Like, would she wear this?
I know.
So you've plagued my mind in the best of ways. Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Did you buy a hat?
No. There was one that, no.
I was like,
it was
I didn't get a
cute.
text.
I know. Yeah, I didn't buy it, but I should have, because I regret it now. Anyway, so how have you ladies been? I mean, I know that this recording, I think it's only been a couple weeks since we last recorded, but by the time this releases, it's going to have been like a month, a little over a month. But so
we have to think in the future.
Yeah. It's time traveling.
prophesying, yeah.
Yeah, we're prophesying. I'll start with Yessie.
I lost 20 pounds in those 3 weeks.
I hit the lotto. I discovered a cure.
I got a horse. I got chickens. I
You
got
too?
No.
Like you too?
I'm just kidding. But let's just say I'm sure it's gonna be hot now, so I would hope I would use my pool.
Stop! But you just besting me.
Well, you
I'm turning the fan on. Wait, it's always a debate, but it's the Hispanic blood in me, tropical.
The Salvadorian.
Yeah, there you
the
go.
palm trees behind you.
Yeah.
Fandom. But I just hope that amazing things are happening. I mean, in all of our lives in those 3 weeks. But
Thank you.
For the most part, I hope that we're really enjoying just the weather outside, the connects, because I'm sure the connect
Yes.
already is going to be this coming weekend. And I'm really excited about that because I didn't get to make it to the other one, and I was so jealous. So I'm excited for this one.
So excited.
It's going to be good.
It is. It really is. I hope the pizza's good. Or was good by the time you guys. I don't know. Denise. Hello.
Hi.
How's your life been?
Welcome
in
back.
Those 3 weeks?
In those 3 weeks, it's been fantastic. Great. Like
There you
Yessie,
go. There you go.
I have a ranch with a horse, a new car,
2 new cars.
2
might
new
as well.
cars.
like Dwight. He's like, he's telling his fantasy. he made himself a manager in Hotel Hell.
Yeah.
And Jim was like, wait, you're the manager in your own fantasy?
He's like, wait, I haven't even told you my salary.
$65,000.
We should just do an The Office responses. That should be our whole podcast.
Oh,
it's
that'd
just
be so
reviewing
good.
episodes.
Yeah.
That'd be really good.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt.
It's okay. Thank you for interrupting my fantasy. Thank you for plugging yourself in my fantasy.
I'm just
With
here
the
to be a part of
chickens.
your life. Yeah.
I didn't expect anything less. It's gonna be great. It's good. God is good. God is so good. So I'm just excited.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm excited with you. And I got to ride your horse last weekend. That was fun. That was really fun.
It's in the same stable as yesterday.
Yep. And Shekinah's.
It's okay.
I love him.
I don't know how your fantasy is, Shekinah, but you have a horse now. You're responsible.
Yeah.
Okay,
and
Shekinah.
then Melissa's gonna fall in love with the guy at the stable, the one that takes care of the stable.
yeah, like the Lifetime movie.
Yeah.
Oh my God, my 6 for cowboy.
Yeah.
So you guys, 3 weeks in, there's a ring.
There's a picture it now. Yeah.
Photoshop, just a little bling.
Starts crying.
Yeah. How about you, Shakay?
Yeah.
Well, apparently I have a horse now, so that's really cool. I can't get on it. It's too small.
Or get your little
got a pony.
pony.
Okay, we got it.
All right, we're good. Okay. I'm not going to speak prophetically like y'all. No, it's been good. This last week, at the time that we're recording, I did a ladies only event.
Oh yeah, I meant to
Yes.
ask you about that.
That was so much fun. We had new people come up. It was really cool. It's just people that saw my post, and I was like, all right,
awesome.
cool. So yeah, we had new people come, and they're excited, and they already signed up for our Passover Seder.
That's amazing.
While they were there, I did ask if some ladies were single. They were all married, and I was like, good for you.
Yeah, must be nice. Try to get like you, my boy.
But no, it was awesome. It was so much fun. And the fact that Sue came in, I had Sue come in just to like approve everything and like spruce it up for me. And she came in and she was like, I don't have to do anything. You did great. And I was just like the biggest compliment I've ever received, because
And it
Sue
was
does not
gorgeous.
do false flattery.
Yeah.
Thank you. I learned how to
she's
do
honest.
she's honest.
Yeah.
I knew she would be. So I was like, I need you to come in and like approve everything. And she walked in. She goes, why am I here? Why'd you have me come? You did everything.
Yeah.
It's great. And I was just like,
You're like, I made it in life.
I made it in life.
It looked really good.
I learned how to do was it rose napkins? Like
That was
I
my
folded little
question.
napkins,
Did you go and do every single one of those?
I did. It was really fast. It was on YouTube.
It was
job.
gorgeous.
But it was great. I had so much fun with it. So now now I know how to do charcuterie boards and like
Good job. You guys,
I did good.
this is such a testimony. If you guys know anything about Shekinah, you know that this is totally out of her element.
I'm a bring your own chair, bring your
Yeah.
own dish kind of person. You know, I like going all out. It's fun. I used to host parties when I was an RA, but it's just not my niche. You know, it's not my thing. But I had fun.
That's awesome.
And you had 2 outfits.
I did. I had my
2
work
outfits?
outfit and my hostess outfit.
And they were
Oh.
both pink.
They were both
cute.
pink.
I
Pink
can't wait.
overalls.
Can't wait to go to the next one, Shekinah.
It was
Yes.
really fun.
You can go in 3
I'm
weeks.
just glad so many new women came, and people were like inviting their sisters and their friends, and it was so cool. And they were just like, oh, we just saw it and we saw Tea Party, so why not? And I was like, okay, welcome.
That's awesome.
Do you know what you're going to do for the next one?
Yes, we are doing s'mores for the next ladies only event.
Ooh.
Yeah, so we're gonna do fires in the parking lot, summer evening type thing.
Sign
That's
me
awesome.
up.
Yes,
That's so great.
I'm excited.
Yes, I can't wait to hit that one up too. Everybody was raving about it, so good job, Shakay. Can't wait.
Thank you.
If you guys ever want to go, the next one is what, in 4 months?
Every 3 months.
Every 3
So the
months.
next one will be July. I don't have the details yet, but it will
Because
be
she does
July.
it quarterly, so it's gonna be good. For me, my life these past 3 weeks has been great.
She found a stable boy.
I found a stable boy. Yeah, he actually owns his own ranch as well, but he
He
likes
just
to
has such
help
a heart
out.
to serve. Yeah.
Exactly, he has a huge servant's heart. Also, what happened these past 3 weeks? I feel like it's all been a whirlwind, but
Been
all
a
good
blur.
things. All good things. Life's been good, so here we are, and now we're filming season 3.
Yeah.
Yep. And before we get into the topic, I want to ask you guys a random dating question. Once a cheater, always a cheater? I'm going to start with. I started with both of you already, so I'm gonna go with Denise.
Okay, so I would have said BC. That would have been my thinking. Like that was my perception. My perspective was once a cheater, always a cheater. However, on this other side of Christ, I would say that if there's a true repentant heart, I mean, God, changes your not that God changes your ways, but you become a new creation. Like your new mindsets, doesn't mean that you don't work actively towards it, but I would say when you come to Christ and there is a repentant heart, that's not always the case.
That's good. I don't know that
Straightforward.
You guys.
No, I agree, honestly. As far as the standard of, so that question came from one of the questions we asked on our stories, and that actually popped up a few times. I asked what was a deal breaker, and so that was one of the things that a few people were like, if they cheated in a past relationship, it's an automatic no for me. And I thought it was interesting that several people popped off with that right away. I don't think that's a bad standard to have.
Right.
It was just something I was surprised because I've never heard that as when you ask what's your deal breaker, they cheated in a past relationship, it's an automatic no. Which if that's your conviction and if that's how the Lord is saying no, this isn't the person for you, that's totally fine. But I agree with you, Denise.
Absolutely.
Honestly, being growing up in church my whole life, I've seen the impossible happen. I have seen marriages redeemed from that. I have seen people truly repentant. And in response to someone admitting, assuming that this is something they're admitting, hey, I have cheated in my past relationship, for me personally, my immediate response would be, okay, because I believe in a redemptive God. But my question would be, what have you done since to make that right? Would be my immediate question.
Absolutely.
So, again, if you have that standard of that's just something that's an automatic no for me, there's no debate, that's fine. I think that's totally fine. That's between you and the Lord at the end of the day. But I know for me personally, I believe in a redemptive God, and I'm not, I don't think I would automatically shut somebody off with that history.
Right.
What about you, Yessie?
There was a episode on, I think it's Love is Blind or something.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I know. And the girl, it was a question during one of their dates, have you ever cheated before? And the girl was like, I have. And so there was the dramatic music. And then the guy, he was like, no, freaking out already and just waiting to hear. But she was like, I was 17. And so I guess she was explaining how when she was a teenager, she didn't really care for relationships that way. So she's like, now that I'm grown up and I know what I want and I've matured, it's very different. So I do agree. I think it's just different seasons of different people's lives, and I don't agree with cheating at all, but I do think that people can be restored in that area, or that they've been cheated on and now they get a taste of their medicine and they're like, you know what, it's not that great. I don't know what happens, but I agree with you, ladies.
There's this podcast that I listen to occasionally, Dr. John Deloney. I don't know if I always mix up his name, but it was this lady who called in and she was like, I've been the other woman for 6 years, and she's like, he hasn't divorced her yet and blah blah blah, and he was like, bro, come on, he's not gonna leave her, and even if he did, do you really think he'd be faithful to you? You know what I mean? And so I just threw that in there because I thought that show was scandalous, but in that episode. But he always comes from a heart of wanting to see people restored and stuff. So it's pretty awesome. But I agree. I think God can restore anything, and what it comes down to really is the person and what you're willing to walk through with somebody, right? Because like Denise always says, choose your heart, right? You're gonna have to have some sort of obstacle with people, and so. Sometimes it's straight up, sometimes it isn't. So, But all right. So the season 3 topic, it is the joy of the Lord. And man, did we have to exercise that before we even started filming. But the joy of the Lord. So the reason why we picked that was because, we just wanted to, I should probably just let you guys say that, because it was you guys the one that brought this
wanted
up.
to go hardcore in depth.
Yeah. And we are.
Yes.
We are.
Yes.
But
we were just feeling let's just have fun. It's summertime. We kind of felt it was from the Lord, I would say. And I honestly think a lighthearted, episodes would be great for our listeners, especially just because it's summertime, summer vibes. Like, let's just have fun.
Yeah.
That's me right
Yeah,
now.
it was funny because Melissa was like adamant about not adamant, but you were like, we're gonna do XYZ, and then Yessie and I kind of looked at each other. We were like, oh, that's not what we got.
I just wanted to give the disclaimer. I said that after I was like, have you guys heard anything from God?
Yeah,
Do
yeah.
you guys feel anything
Yeah.
for this season?
Yeah.
They said, nobody said nothing.
I said I had a word and I just couldn't
yeah.
think of
Yeah.
it.
Word was mum, okay? There was nothing.
True.
And then finally I'm like, okay, like I just feel like the Lord wants us to go in deeper, like, you know, really go in depth
Yeah.
and study and blah, blah, blah. And then Denise was like, really? All of a sudden, she had input.
Yes, because I didn't bear witness, so I had to just voice what I felt. And then, thankfully, not thankfully, but yes, he's like, yeah.
My word was, I don't even remember what my word was.
But talk about what we're doing on Mondays.
Yes.
Mondays.
So there's a beautiful balance. So
Yes.
we both heard from the Lord. Oh, not both. All of us heard from the Lord.
Except for me, by the way.
No, you did too. But it's a beautiful balance of how we're integrating it all.
Yes.
Yeah, so on Mondays, we talked about Melissa taking over on Mondays because
Yeah.
we normally interview people, and that's not going to stop.
Right.
But it's just difficult to find so many people to interview. And we were like, what are we going to do Monday? And then so what Melissa was feeling, we were like, we'll do that on Monday.
Yeah.
So we're excited for
yes.
Mondays because Monday's going to be...
God, that's
I know
what
she was
so
processing. She's like,
confused.
what are we doing on Monday?
No, I remember.
Mondays are going to be the days that you do have that opportunity
Yeah.
to really share what the Lord's been putting on your heart. Because I just want our listeners to know, and you guys already know this if you've been listening, is that Melissa gets some deep revelations. She really does. She's a leader intercessor at our church.
Yep.
Like, she's so prophetic. And yeah, when she goes off, we have to kind of calm her down because we're like, we know that you're hearing from the Lord right now, but we have something to say too.
I just get excited.
And we love it because it's so deep, and it's just, but like, I think that balance comes in to where, you know, Denise and Yessie were feeling like, no, we want it to be lighthearted and joyful, and so we get that opportunity to do that on Thursdays, and then Melissa's going to take over on Mondays, which is going to be so exciting because we do get to hear those deep revelations from her.
And which is something that we had told her that we wanted her to do even before this, was we want you to really do whatever 5, 10, 15 minutes of just getting deep. I said, because the world still we need that. We need the healthy balance. So I feel like it was all just confirmation of, okay, here's what we have. Like, it's what seemed like two different visions was actually one. It's just time and place, right? Which is what we're huge on, time and place, and what does that look like? So yeah, we're excited to obviously hear the Monday bits of, you know, your depth. And then obviously when we do Thursdays, the fun, joy.
Which the word of the Lord is joyous.
Yes, it is.
All right.
Because Yessie and I like to party.
Clearly.
And then there's other parts. I know we're focusing on the singles. Like, there's so much into like fun parts of it, you know?
Yeah, for sure. But oddly enough, though, these first 2 episodes, we're setting down the groundwork, okay, for the joy of the Lord and all that good stuff. But we are inserting some funny things along. So just, you know, as I mentioned in that preview reel that we did for Insta, just follow along for the ride and for the story that the Lord wants to unravel. So that covers why we cover this topic. So tell us, ladies, what is the joy of the Lord?
It's a little dance you get.
Yes, he's dancing right now. For those that are listening.
Honestly, I would say it's just, I would personally say, because I know that there's so much scripture to joy of the Lord, and I'm thankful for that, because it's in areas that you wouldn't even expect to find joy. I know for myself personally, after my miscarriage I recently had, there was many times that I just wanted to hide under a rock, and I've said that. But there was so many more times that I just felt this overwhelming peace and this joy I've never really felt before. Like, you just see life in a different area. You just see God come through in such deeper ways. And you just have this never-ending joy. And there's been moments that I feel like I've been carried spiritually, honestly. Like, my heart isn't as heavy in those moments. And I really know that it's backed by God, by prayer, and by by just looking deeper into him, because even doing a biblical journal I've been doing with my husband, it's been some scriptures on the side, and they're talking about how you find joy in pain and all of these different things. And I'm like, at first, right, I was trying to hide under a rock. I'm like, but why? And I was sitting in the car listening to my daughter's music. And I sent this in the group chat, but it was rejoice, rejoice, rejoice in the Lord. And then it just keeps saying how you have to do it always. And like A-Rob always says, what does always mean? Always, or all the time, right? And so I questioned God, and I was driving, and I'm like, but not this season. And he was like, no, especially this season. And so I turned up the song, and I didn't want to, and I'm singing. My daughter loves to sing and dance, so she was singing and dancing, and I was singing with her, and I really felt like a breakthrough at that moment, mentally, because I was limited by not this season. Like, I'm feeling bad, I'm gonna stay bad, you know, or down, you know. But that's what I would say is at least joy for me.
That's really good.
Yeah.
That's really good.
I love how you drew out, like, because joy is not the absence of pain. It is the choice that you make, right? The choice that the place where you choose to stand. So I think it's beautiful how you said that.
Yeah, that's the way I define, or the way I see joy. It's a decision. It's a choice. And so in the midst of whatever's happening, I choose to be joyous. And it doesn't mean that I'm not hurting. It doesn't mean, I feel like it goes back with something that the Lord's really been showing me is a lot of things that we think are like a position posture are really a heart posture, right? So where is my heart in it? And we kind of heard that today even with A-Rob. So for me is, choosing to be joyous in every situation and in every circumstance. It doesn't mean that I don't have my moments of like, okay, I'm feeling sad, I'm feeling down, but it's like, you know what? I'm going to make a conscious decision to be joyful and going to be in peace. And in choosing to be joyful, I'm finding my strength. I'm finding peace that surpasses all understanding, which is wild to me, because we're training our, like, it's great. The word of God is so contrary to like what the world tells you, right? So it goes back to what you said. Sometimes we're feeling like down and we want to stay down, but it's like, no, I'm going to choose the opposite, because that's what the word says. What does the word say? It's to meditate on all those things, like on whatever is good, whatever is noble, whatever is like loving. And so when you're choosing to do that, you're going against the grain, but then you also find yourself that you find these moments or pockets of joy that you're like, wait, how is that even happening? How can I be joyful in such a tragedy? Or how can I be joyful in such a place of hurt or sorrow? But when you do it God's way, which choice, it's amazing what follows suit, right? And so like I said, so that for me is obviously making a conscious decision to be joyful even when I don't feel like it. And then it's funny because then I realize that my emotions start aligning with the decision that I've made that's God's choice. And then one of the things that I told you ladies that reminded me, and then you gave the scripture, was, how can there be joy in tragedy? And I said, ask any woman who's given birth, and even in the pain, like as soon as you give birth, like all that pain, it's like you literally forget about it, or at least I did. And you're just so focused on the joy. I mean, when they put the baby on you and they're still like stitching you up or cleaning you up, like there is a lot happening, not trying to get graphic, but you're literally not even focused on that because you're so focused and consumed with the blessing that you have in your hands.
That's great.
Yeah, I love it.
That's beautiful.
It is beautiful.
Totally agree. I remember I was getting stitched up and I didn't even know.
Because you're so focused and consumed in the blessing before you that nothing else. It's like you're so tunnel vision. And so yeah, that's joy. Be tunnel vision with the joy, and everything else around it will just.
Yeah. So I think what's beautiful even about that, right, it's taking it back during those 9 months, right, where you're birthing something and you're creating something. And so the process there's this ups and downs, there's celebration, there's shock, there's preparation. And so the process to deliver the promise is always quite rocky, right? And what's crazy is... like I remember, I think Yessie would be like, she would trip out. She's like, dude, my body is literally making a human right now. Like I didn't even have to think about it. Like it's just doing it. It's like there is a natural process that you follow, right? And of course, there was an engagement where you had to take care of yourself and you had to obviously pray and watch over. Yeah, do your part. And so I think what. Again, bringing it back to joy is not the absence of process, and it's not the absence of pain
or sorrow.
It is knowing that there is something that's in my terms, something's about to pop off, right? Soon enough. And so it's looking forward to that in order for you to be able to bring that into where you're at right now. So, Shekinah, what would you like to add to this?
No, I agree with everything you guys are saying. Joy, to find joy in the Lord, it's not about trying to manipulate your emotions.
Right.
You know, you're not trying to pretend that you're happy and just put on that fake smile. It is a process of that it can be in the process of grieving. And I know for me with my divorce, I've been trying really hard to regulate my schedule and my time according to scripture, taking a Sabbath. And then when I lost my marriage, I grieved that time. And scripturally, it talks about, you know, taking 7 days to mourn, you know, to the point where you wear sackcloth, you put ashes on your face, and you even hire mourners. You hire professional people to cry.
Yeah.
You literally surround yourself with sorrow, and you surround yourself with tears, and that you think that's strange, right? How can you find joy in that? But I applied that for the first time in my life. I applied that, and I fasted, and I mourned, and I just let myself be completely, entirely consumed with this sorrow. For 7 days, I dedicated to it. And when I came out of it, this joy just hit me so hard, and this peace hit me so hard, even though it was like the hardest 7 days of my life, because you're not eating and you're grieving simultaneously. You're suffering on every physical, emotional, like I put myself through a complete state of depression. I know it sounds so weird to say that you put yourself in that place, but I was controlling that emotion instead of it letting it control me. I said, I am giving you this time to grieve. And I completely depleted myself everywhere except spiritually. And that was the hardest time of my life. I was starving. I was angry. I cried. I was dehydrated. I was, you know, it was hard. Like, I look back on it and I'm just like, that's
crazy.
So difficult to do. And I had to purposely, though, put myself in a place of pain. And I know that sounds so weird, but I did, so that I can really feel the full effect and not ignore the full effect of what just happened. But when I came out on the other side of it, I ate a big bowl of chili. And
Chili.
Yeah, the worst food to eat to break a fast with.
I was thinking about that. I was like,
I was just so hungry. That was available. I ate with a friend who took me out, and I just felt that peace wash over me, and I felt that peace and joy. And, you know, but it came on completely putting myself in a position to rely on God in every aspect. And I think that's what the joy of the Lord is you are completely, totally reliant on God, even through the worst of it.
That's so good.
That is really good. And I love how you said that it's not like this fake thing, right? Because I think what a lot of people could probably hear from this is like, oh, well, joy, you know, like pressing through to the joy, like it's not, okay, how do I say this in a way that is coherent? Okay, so there is those people, right, that you know it, where they're just walking around and they're just like happy all the time, and you're just like, bro, like there's like, it just feels like too much, right? Because but then there's those people that you really see like, man, like that joy like really costs something, like, you know, that they're choosing to be in that place. And I think that is the one that is breakthrough, because they're standing in the truth of who God is. And so one thing that I wanted to differentiate is that happiness and joy are completely different things, right? Happiness is the emotion, and joy is the choice and the stand in the position of your heart, as Denise was saying. And so happiness is temporary, but joy is everlasting.
Yes.
And one thing that I wanted to just touch on really quick is that, you know, we've all heard, I'm hoping that you've heard, if not, read your Galatians book, okay? But, you know, the 9 fruits of the Spirit, one of them is joy. And I thought that was crazy, because alongside with joy is self-discipline, right? And so you have to discipline yourself to stay in a state of joy.
Yes.
And that doesn't mean being in this weird person that's just like this cartoon character, but it's somebody that makes the conscious decision to engage. And I love what Shekinah was saying, because our listeners are probably like, okay, like mourning and joy, they do go hand in hand together, because like, for example, for the Christian, right, if a loved one dies that you know was saved, it's you're mourning the temporary and you're going through those physical emotions and, you know, the earthly stuff, but you have the eternal joy of knowing like, man, they're with God right now. Like they're literally, they don't even remember who I be right now. You know, like, throw me a lifeline. But yeah, you know, it's depicting that. It's, you know, once you go through the process and you finally see the breakthrough, like there is this, like, as Shekinah was saying, like this everlasting joy, right? And so that's what I love about God, that he always redeems the time. To wrap it up, ladies, how does this topic relate to the single or those that are in relationships, whether it be married or with boyfriend and girlfriend?
Well, waiting can be hard.
Oh, yeah. They gotta have my rancho.
Be hard.
My stable boy.
Yes, you have your stable boy, so you're good. But no, I mean, for our single listeners, that's just it. Waiting can be very difficult, and to rely on the joy of the Lord. Again, we're not saying be fake. We're saying show up. We're saying engage, and like you said, there's a purpose, there's intent, and there's God behind it all. And when you can think in those terms, you really will genuinely start to see what that joy looks like and how it translates in your life, in your particular situation.
Yeah, see?
Especially in relationships, like being married. I think you're obviously married and people call it the honeymoon phase, but you're just, joyous and sometimes oblivious of just things that can come up. And then you start realizing, like, I don't want things like that in my house. And then they're like, well, I've always done it this way. Well, I've always done it that way. Just little things just start to, like, rub each other the wrong way. And then you're just, not feeling that same joy. But it's just going back to remembering why. I mean, obviously focusing on God, both of you guys. But when you do come across that and you work through those things, you become stronger. And it's crazy because sometimes you'll finish each other's sentences or, I'm not going to do that because I know you don't like that, but you like it this way. And like you start listening. So you start building off of that. And I think that's where like even more joy comes, because that's why a lot of people say, I'm more in love with this person than I was when I first met them. And sometimes as a single person, I would wonder why, like, that makes no sense, but now it makes sense because you grow with them, you build with them.
What about you, Denise?
I think from a single perspective, I think choosing to be joyful, and I'm not saying, like you said, it's not easy, but it also helps. One of the things that at CareNet that I did.
Drawing shots.
Huh?
You guys should see her hand gun. Put them up.
We were talking about relationships, and it's like you basically attract like who you are, right? Like whatever. Spirits attract spirits. Yeah. So basically, if you're not joyful and you're bitter and resentful, you're gonna attract bitter and resentful, because why would a mate want somebody in their life that's not joyful, right? So it goes back to, like, are you the person that you're praying for, are you that person? And I'm sure you're not praying for someone who's angry and bitter,
Party pooper.
I would hope not. But if you do, that's on you, boo. Like, you do you.
It'll come. It'll come fast, for sure. Right. Why are you still single?
Yeah, so it goes back. And that just even, so that for me in that single aspect is, I feel that's why it's important, is not just necessarily for you, but for what you're going to attract. And so then going back into like a marriage perspective, you're right. There is good days, there's bad days, and it's not always going to be peachy, but the joy of the Lord is your strength.
Nehemiah. I get it.
Yeah. But you definitely need to pull on that joy.
Definitely.
And in every aspect in life. I mean, not just in marriage and dating, but friendships, relationships, at work, like everything. Why would you want serving? Why would you want to be why would somebody want to hire you if you're angry and bitter and resentful? Like, why? Why would anybody want to be around you?
You feel strong about that.
No, I agree. I was thinking of this just a few weeks ago when I was hired at Sephora. I was hired under customer service. I was promoted to customer experience manager, right? So my goal was just to have fun, like the events and customer surveys and making sure everyone had a good time. But I remember the other manager, she was more of like the analytical one. And we worked side by side and we were a great team. But she said, Yesenia, can you just like chill? Like, you're smiling so much. Like, it just seems too fake. Like, the customers can tell. And I'm like, I looked at her and she was with the main manager, right? And I just looked at her and I said, do you know that I came like from a really depressed time in my life, right? Like, I didn't think I would ever even be able to smile again. And so for me to come out here and smile, I'm being authentic and I want to give that smile to other people. So I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. And then I just grabbed my basket of go backs and I went and go put them away. And I was like skipping with the smile. And the main manager, she was like, no way, you've never been depressed. And I was like, I was in a very hard season. And I shared a little bit about my backstory, my parents, and I'm like, I didn't think I was gonna be here ever. And she's like, oh, let her keep smiling. What's wrong with that? If you think it's fake, it's because you're not at that place. And so I just smiled and I kept going.
That's good.
Mm-hmm. And they hired me for that.
Exactly.
So I agreed to Denise.
Yes. Did you go already, Shakai?
I
think I'm just... You're the last one.
You're the last one.
Me now? Yeah, so thank you guys for doing it. No, I'm kidding. So the joy of the Lord, as a single woman, you know, I love what these girls are saying, but I'm going to be honest with you guys. It takes a lot more work for me to step into this kind of position with the Lord. And that is because I'm not saying that they were naturally wired to this, but it takes me a little bit longer for me to be wired into that. And so, however, what really helps me is having people like this around, right? I can either step away and go into my little dark tunnel, which I have. There's been seasons where I have, and I came back like, I'm so sorry, I should have never done that. So that learn from me, isolating yourself is not the way to go. So surrounding yourself with people that don't allow you to fall into your holes, but at the same time, I think we've talked about this before, where they know the times and the seasons, right? Like they know that you're not wired like them, and so they allow you to be wired how you need to process, but at the same time, when it's time to wash your face, you wash your face and you move forward. So I've learned that just because it's harder for me, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's bad. I just need to find a different facet of the Lord in order for me to find my joy. And so for my guys and girls out there that have a harder time stepping into the joy of the Lord, it's not because you're broken. It just means that you need to find a different, to me, joy looks different. And so to you, it's going to look different, but it doesn't mean the principle is not there. And as a single woman, you know, definitely after waiting, you know, it's been a long process. And I've definitely encountered a lot of different people throughout. But at the same time, you know, when I get into these episodes where it's like, man, like this really sucks, I start looking forward to what the Lord has already said. And I hang on to what words God has given me directly, and of course the Bible. And I start putting into practice the things that the Lord has spoken about my future. And so being able to see the future and being able to hang on to the promise that God has given me is what really pulls me out of those seasons of waiting, because I'm like, oh my gosh, like, yeah, maybe going through this heartache and I am going through this disappointment and I'm so sad, like, you know, having to start again, like, I feel it. I feel you guys, you know, having to restart and everything. But at the end of the day, what keeps me going is like, man, God, thank you so much. Like, thank you that you haven't let me go. Thank you that you've carried me through. Thank you, Lord Jesus, that, you know, despite what it looks like now, there is a promise coming. And so I think, which really is what all of these ladies have been saying, it's like being able to see what the Lord is doing and bringing it into this moment right now, right?
And I love what you said earlier in the podcast is what keeps replaying in my mind is engagement. Yeah. If you want to find the joy of the Lord, you have to be engaged. And that means be intentional, right? And so even when I took that time to just seclude myself, to mourn, to not eat, to just fall into that time of mourning, it was with an intention. I was intentionally giving myself that time to mourn. I just didn't do it. I just didn't disengage from the world. There was intention behind it. And I love what you're saying too, is that sometimes you just disengage. And when you disengage, that's when depression sets in. But when you're intentional and you reach out to people, when you step outside your door, you know, there's a purpose behind it. And I think finding purpose in everything you do, that's where the joy of the Lord can really take root in your life.
And even just listening to you speak, you positioned your heart in a manner to receive that joy. Does that make sense? Because you were, like you said, purposeful and intentional. You knew what was happening. You knew that, okay, I'm going through this right now. I'm not happy. It's hard, XYZ. But you know what? I'm going to purposely position my heart in a place to be thankful, to be grateful, because I'm going to choose to be joyous despite what my circumstance. It's like you're prophesying to yourself. Despite what my circumstance says, I'm going to speak the word of the God, or the truth over myself, the promises that I've already received. So that's a heart, but like it's a heart posture. It's a positioning of your heart, and I love that.
Thanks, Denise. Look at that. You're my friend. So with that being said, you guys, thank you so much. Yes. We hope that you enjoyed this first episode of season 3. We know that we popped off and we had fun.
Yeah.
So stay tuned for the next episode. It's going to be great. The next episode. Hold up. Boom.
That should be the intro. Or the outro.
If you know, you know. Am I right? All right. With that, for sure. Continue to pray for your single friends because they're wilding out here.
It's still hard out here, I guess.
Cut her off.
All right, you guys. Have a good one.
Bye.
Thank you for listening. If you liked this episode or we answered any of your questions, or you have a question that you would like to be discussed in future episodes, let us know in the comments or share on social media. And be sure to hit subscribe so you won't miss out on the amazing content and guests we have lined up for you. Shalom and God bless.